Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm going to talk, got a haircut, as you guys can see right here. Yeah, I got a haircut. But I'm going to talk to you today about Eugene Jacques Bullard. Eugene Jacques Bullard was the very first African-American fighter pilot. And while he did not fly for the U.S. Air Force, or the U.S. Army Air Corps, which is what it was during World War I, he flew for the French Air Force. And and he was, a little bit of background information. Okay, he was born in Columbus, Georgia, to an African-American father and a Creek Indian mother. Okay, but his mother died when he was very, very young. He never really knew his mother, so he considered himself full-blooded African-American because his father raised him from birth on. But his father had immigrated from the French island of Martinique to the United States. And he was a slave in Martinique, and he found, at least he wasn't a slave in the United States. Well, he told Eugene Jacques Bullard, not in the French overseas territories, but if you go to France, it'll be better for you, for an African-American at that time, in the United States, that in France, they're just going to recognize you for your merit, for your merit, for not your skin color. If you get to mainland France, they won't judge you by the color of your skin, by and large, at least the system won't. And that proved to be true for Eugene Jacques Bullard. He got to France, and he actually became a boxer, and he became a successful boxer, and very famous in France. And he also was already fluent in French, which helped him in France. His father was from Martinique originally, and Eugene Jacques Bullard and his father spoke French in the home with each other. So French was more or less his first language, even though he was fluent in English as well. So when the World War I breaks out, he goes and he enlists in the French Infantry. And he's in the French Infantry, and he is wounded in battle, and he's been decorated for his bravery. He's won several commendations, and he was in two key World War I battles, Battle of Verdun and Battle of Somme. Well, after that, Eugene Jacques Bullard, he's wounded. He could go home. He's done his service, but he wants to keep fighting. He wants to keep serving his adopted country of France. Well, he enlists in the Lafayette Escadrille de Lafayette. It's a French Foreign Legion fighter pilot squadron, and most of his other colleagues were white Americans. He was the only African American. To the best of my knowledge, I've not heard that he experienced any discrimination in that fighter wing. He was readily accepted. But when the United States entered the war, that squadron was disbanded, and the people went to go fly for the U.S. Army Air Forces. Everybody was accepted except Eugene Jacques Bullard. Eugene Jacques Bullard was not accepted because he was black. So he had to go back to he had to stay in the French Air Force. Now, the French Air Force let him continue flying, but after an altercation with another French soldier, we don't know if it was over race or if they were both drunk, but he got in an altercation and he punched another French soldier out. Well, after that altercation, he was demoted and couldn't fly anymore, but he was allowed to stay in the infantry. Well, when World War II broke out, at first, he served as a spy for the French forces and spied on plenty of German movements in France until Germany took over all of France. And after that, he had to go to the United States. And when World War II broke out, he was too old to be enlisted in the U.S. military, basically. Well, after that, he became an elevator repairman in the Rockefeller Center in New York City. Eventually, NBC gets word of what he did in France, and they interview him in the 1950s. And he said, despite how bad America treated me, America was like my mother. I was born there, and you never stop loving your mother no matter what. But he said, France was like my mistress, and you love your mistress more than your mother, so I love France more, but I never hated America, despite how America treated me. Well, after that, the U.S. Air Force posthumously awarded Eugene Jacques Bullard honorary second lieutenant status in the U.S. Air Force, recognizing their mistakes of not accepting Eugene Jacques Bullard as a pilot. So, hope everybody's doing well. Take care. God bless, and bye-bye. Bye-bye.